Yes, guys, what's happening? And welcome to the stream. And tomorrow evening, Chelsea take on Everton, bidding to keep pace with Manchester City, who are looking relentless at the moment at the top of the table when they host Everton at Stamford Bridge. And it is a return to the bridge for every Chelsea fan's favourite, Rafa Benitez. It's going to be odd for him, perhaps a ground where he goes to where he's equally unpopular with both sets of fans. So it should be an interesting reception for him tomorrow evening. But yeah, it's vitally important that Chelsea get the 3 points, keep up the pace of Manchester City, and stay in touch whilst we're going for a little bit of a dip in form ourselves, and the performances haven't been that great. And from an Everton perspective, I'm delighted again to be joined by Kieran. Mate, thanks for joining me. We're going to get some insight to how they're getting on this season and what we can expect from them tomorrow night. So we'll get straight into it. Everton, Kieran, the season has not been kind of what fans were expecting so far. You go into tomorrow night sitting 14th in the table, 2 wins since September as we approach the middle of December. Injuries mounting up as well. Realistically, what can you expect from Everton tomorrow night?
Right. I hate to be negative, but this is the only game I'm going to be negative. We're going to get absolutely smashed tonight. Or tomorrow night, sorry. Absolutely smashed. We've not won at Stamford Bridge for 20 years. We have got pretty much half our first team out. As you said there, we've not won a game. Obviously, exclude that Arsenal game. We have not won a game since the 26th of September, and that was against Norwich. We are looking like an absolute shambles at the moment. And to be quite honest with you, I'm going to be a bit more positive when we go against Leicester, Newcastle, Burnley. But this game's a write-off, mate. I'm sorry to say, you are going to absolutely dominate us. And I hate to say it. And I'm not saying that with, obviously, Chelsea fans will be loving it. As you're there, you're just laughing your head off because, yeah, I would be too. Because we are in the mud at the moment. And you know what? It's just really, I don't know what's going on at Everton Football Club at the moment. I really don't. And the fact that we have dropped so low compared to last season is really concerning. And I don't know, man. Going into this game, I'm not confident. This is the first game I've gone into where I have not felt confident throughout the whole season. You know, I went into the Liverpool game thinking we could win, went into the Man City game thinking we could maybe get a draw. But this Chelsea team, I mean, you can see it with the results here. I mean, Chelsea are phenomenal at the top, and you're sort of, I'm going into a little bit of Chelsea there, but you're still top of the table, near the top of the table anyway. You know, how many points is that in between? About what?
Well, we're 5 points behind. We've obviously got a game in hand, so we'd be 2 off the top if we win tomorrow night. So within touching distance, basically. Yeah,
you're staying up on top, and you've had a few bad results recently, haven't you? Obviously, you've lost the game against West Ham and whatnot, but look at us there. I mean, we're 14th, and we truly are in the mud at the moment. And I hope there's an escape, but I don't know where that comes from.
I mean, does that worry you? 16 games into the season, and you see Everton sitting 14th in the table with the likes of, no disrespect to them, Brighton, Brentford, Crystal Palace, etc., ahead of you. Sides that Everton should be doing a lot better than. You know, Everton are always thought of as a big club. You know, great history throughout the 80s, early 90s, etc. But realistically, for years and years now, really since David Moyes has left, there's just been so much unfulfilled potential. And it just, this season, I think Benitez coming in, not particularly popular appointment by any means, but I guess the club thought that he could be the man to sort of turn things around, get back into Europe, into the new stadium, etc. But it just hasn't worked out. I mean, other than injuries, which we'll come on to, which obviously have caused a big dip in form for Everton. Yeah. What else do you put it down to, mate, in terms of why Everton have been so poor this season? Because don't forget, you took 10 points from the first 12 of the season.
Lack of identity. Rafa doesn't seem like the man to manage. He doesn't scream he doesn't scream to me as an Everton manager, and that's what most fans are getting annoyed at. I'm getting annoyed at. He's not an Everton man. He's not an Everton manager. He's obviously an ex-Liverpool manager. I think that the defensive, conservative style football that we're playing, we're not playing attacking football. Rafa is always known to be this defensive coach that gets the best out of defenses, and he really hasn't. Let's be honest here. I mean, we are losing a lot of games based on conceding quite a few goals. We haven't got a solid defense at the back. The freezing out of Luca Digne, which I'm not happy about, that's happened recently. The players just not looking up to it. Certain players anyway, not looking up to it. Certain players not being good enough for the team. And the only shining light of this season has been Demarai Gray. The only one you could really say has been a positive. That obviously there's some middle ground ones, but the only positive we've got is Demarai Gray. And it is very concerning for me because there's so many negatives happening at the club at this point in time. And, I just, there's so many problems. Obviously, we spent £1.7 million coming into it.
Yeah.
That sort of I think that sets the tone. And that's all you need to know about what our season's like. Mediocre, disappointment, and just a nothing season, really, when we look back at it.
Well, I mean, I say you've obviously finished 10th last season under Carlo.
Mm-hmm.
The squad wasn't that great then either. And then you say, I know you might have been slightly hands behind the back with the financial fair play regulations, etc. But realistically, can you actually expect any better when you go and spend £1.7 million, bring 3 players into the club? Do you really expect to do any better than last season?
Well, like with Rafa, no. But if we had Carlo still, that's the big if. I think we would. And I think that shows the difference in quality of manager, to be quite honest with you, because you're saying Carlo's doing really well with Real Madrid now. I think the thing is with Carlo, if he would have picked up another win somewhere, which he easily could have, by the way, we would be in Europe, I think. Yeah. We'd be in the Conference League. And I think that drastically shifts the perspective on that season. Last year was a disappointment at the end because we finished 10th, but we were 1 point off 7th.
Yeah.
That's how fine the margins were last year. And the initial squad, the squad we've got is good enough in my book to finish at least 8th. However, injuries hit us all the time. Every single year they hit us. And that's why we never reach our potential. Because you've had Dominic Calvert-Lewin out. He's only played 3 games. Yet he's scored 3 goals, which shows how big of a miss he is. Coleman's been out quite a few times. We've had Yerry Mina out. Arguably, Yerry Mina, one of our best centre-backs. Decore was out for a month and a half. Arguably our best centre mid. Alan's been out recently. And I think the initial squad we've got is good enough. But when you compile a new manager who doesn't really inspire the fans in, getting results or getting wins or getting anywhere, and then you mix it with a team that's very mix and match with different manager styles. Obviously, Coleman signings are still here. Silva's signings, Carlo signings are all still here. And you have a mix and match squad. It's a recipe for disaster. And we're so deep in problems. There's so many that I don't even think we can go over all of them, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
So many. And I think it'll be easier to actually pick out the positives at Everton rather than the negatives, because at least then you could see, because there's only a few positives I could say about this team. And it's just, should we have expected more? Maybe not. But I'd like to have thought so, that we would have expected a little bit more.
I mean, I bet you wish you still had Romelu Lukaku on the books. He's obviously Tuchel today in the press conference when asked about whether he'd start, whether he's going to play or not, said he's probably got about 70 minutes in the tank. So I'd probably expect him to start tomorrow night. It's been a bit of a hit and miss season for Lukaku. I was delighted to see him come back. For me, there's not many more proven goal scorers out there. The guy scores goals everywhere. West Brom, Everton, Man United, Inter Milan, everywhere he scores them. And at Chelsea, before he got injured, I think he had about 4 and 6 maybe, which is not bad considering he started readjusting to the Premier League, new system, etc. It'll take a little bit of time to get him up to speed. But if we can get him firing and integrated into the side, I feel that's going to be the difference between whether we win the league or not. I mean, how are you expecting? I mean, I think Lukaku's going to play some part. How do you envisage dealing with his threat up front?
I don't know how we do it, mate. I don't think we can. I don't think we have the facilities for it. I genuinely don't. We don't have Yerry Mina, who's normally our man. We've got Michael Keane at the back, and obviously we'll get into the team using a little bit. Yeah. But we're probably going to have to start Jared Brantwaite, who is a 21-year-old lad who I think will be good enough in the future. But right now, going against Romelu Lukaku in an informed Chelsea side, it scares me. And I just know that Lukaku's going to score tomorrow. I miss Lukaku. I mean, I could get a shout out here of me when I was when I was young, when I was like a child. The shirt wouldn't fit me anymore. And it's got Romelu Lukaku on the back. So he is my childhood, Romelu Lukaku. Him, Ross Barkley. I'm not sure if he'll make a cameo in this game.
He won't. I doubt he may even make the bench.
Yeah, I mean, it really is sad to see with Lukaku, because of course he was going to move on to go to bigger and better things, and he has done that, and I respect that. He has done that, but last time he shushed against us, when he scored for Man United, and if he does it again, I just don't like that disrespect, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna make me sad if he scores and he shoots. It's just gonna make me sad, and it's just gonna add on to a situation at the moment where I feel miserable at watching games when we're 1-0, 2-0 down. I feel miserable, and I have this saying on my watch along where I'm gonna get the jacket on, and if I get the jacket on, I've said this is it, quits, done, and every single game, that jacket has came on 10 minutes earlier. And I feel like at Chelsea, it'll be 20 minutes in.
I mean, how on Lukaku, just lastly on him, how is he perceived by the Everton fans? Do they still hold him in high esteem, or is it kind of?
No, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think so. I don't think he's hated by anyone because he's such a quality player. Everyone knew he was going to leave, and even though he did shush us, I think you do overlook that when a player scores 20 plus goals every season he played for. Yeah, you do overlook it, and we don't like Ross Barkley, still a bit iffy on because the way he did it. It's the way you leave, you know what I mean? It's the way you leave. With Lukaku, we knew he was going to leave. Now, it's disrespectful to shush us, and I don't like that. Yeah. But it's the way you leave, and I don't think he left in the worst way possible because everyone knew he was going to go.
You got loads of money for him as well.
Yeah, I mean, so what was it, 70 million, 80 million?
I think it's 80, almost, 80 odd million,
You know what? It's the way you leave. When, you know what I mean? And I don't think Stones was too bad either, even though I think Lukaku was not the worst one. You know what I mean? It wasn't the worst way he could do it. It's probably the best way he could do it. Leave a club, and I mean, it's because he was so good at Everton. I think we knew he was going to leave.
Yeah,
and
it was just one of them, isn't it?
It was just it is genuinely just one of them. It's sort of like if the Grealish thing didn't turn sour.
Yeah,
it's sort of imagine it like that for any modern football. I say modern, any new football fans. Think about how much Jack Grealish sort of committed to Aston Villa. You know, gave two free really good years at Aston Villa. I know it's a bit different because obviously Lukaku's not from Liverpool, but you know he gave 2-3 really good years, and you sort of knew he was going to leave at one point. Same with many other players you could mention, but we knew he was going to leave. With Ross Barkley, I don't really think we did, or we didn't expect him to leave the way he did. You know what I mean? So that's the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair. There are a couple of players from Everton that are in the Chelsea ranks, with obviously Lukaku, Barkley, etc. Obviously, from more positive news for Chelsea perspective, having had an absolute mountain of injuries, particularly in central midfield, we've had Jorginho out, we've had Kovacic, Kante out, etc. It's good now that Kante is going to be fit enough to start on the bench. Kovacic is still out, COVID. He'll be back in training on Friday after his isolation period. So it's likely to be Jorginho and Ruben Loftus-Cheek again from the start in the centre of the pitch. Also, positive injury news is that Chalobah is back in the squad. I'm not sure if he's going to start at the back. That's kind of a touch and go, really. Otherwise, apart from Ben Chilwell, which is a long-term absentee, him and Kovacic are the only two missing. So it's nice to see that whilst, unfortunately, Everton's injury list is pretty long still, ours is now getting a little bit shorter, which is great. But I'm not sure how long Chilwell is going to be out for. And I feel we need to sign a left wing back in January. And hate to say it, but Dino would be a great option for us. But I don't know how likely that is. But if he's kind of fallen out of Rafa, etc. If that's to be believed, I think we could get him for less than 20 million.
I don't think so. I don't think we'd let him go for 20 million. You'd like to think that you would. Honestly, if he goes for 20 million, I think I'm done with this club. I really would. Right. That is a steal. You get one of the best left backs for 20 mil. I'd say you could reasonably in January. This is in January. Yeah. You could get him for 40, 50 million. I think, and I think as a Chelsea fan and as Thomas Tuchel, if I was Thomas Tuchel, I'd go, wow, okay, you go and buy Digne now for 40 million. You know what I mean? Go and buy him now. He's one of the best left backs, or I can make him one of the best left backs, if not the best in the Premier League. And I think,
he'd be great in that system as well. I reckon he's. Yeah. I mean, because part of the reason maybe when I was chatting to you last time you come on, is that Rafa don't really like attacking fullbacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for Chelsea, playing as a left wing back, where the emphasis is more on attacking than it is defending. Obviously, you've still got to be a little bit handy defending, but it's not as important with the extra centre back to cover. I think he'd be perfect.
You know, he'd love it. He'd love, and what he'd love about it is you're playing in Champions League football, so you'd be rotating with Chilwell. So that rotation with Chilwell wouldn't be a bad thing because he'd be playing all the Champions League games or all the Premier League games. And if things go the way they are, And I don't like the way it's going, because what I'm saying now is I think Digne might leave in January. Because
criminal,
Rafa,
that, isn't it?
it is absolutely criminal. And if it does, I've said to myself, and I see the Simon's putting in the chat there.
Yeah.
I will be officially Rafa out. I will want Rafa out if we don't win the next 2 games, or we don't win one of the next 2 games.
Yeah.
I'm not Rafa in right now. I'm not advocating him for him to stay, but I'm not going out saying Rafa out, this, that, the other, because I don't know what other manager there would be. But if we lose the next 2 games, don't even get a point off Leicester, I think that's where it goes. You know what? That's done. It's done now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because while you think, right, the manager's doing terribly, you then also got to think, right, okay, we get rid of this manager. Well, who do we get in? That would do any better. That's obviously a completely different conversation, but like it's obviously it's something to think about, isn't it? Because like it's all very well, we'll get rid of him. Who comes in and really does any better?
You know what? I was looking at the betting odds yesterday when we were watching the City game. The Denmark manager, I'm not sure if he would come, but he's top 1.
Yeah.
He looks like he's got a decent record. Looks like he'd bring in a few decent players. He plays 3-4-3, so he'd probably actually accommodate Luca Digne in his system. So he could be on the radar. Frank Lampard could be on the radar. Wayne Rooney has been on the radar, apparently. So there are a few managers out there.
Yeah.
None of them stand out and go, wow, okay, we need them right now. And my concern is about the names I've listed. Is Mashori likes a big name. Mashori likes a so-called world-class manager, someone who's already done it, someone who's won a Champions League, someone who's done something like that. And none of those names that I've just mentioned really fit that profile, which is why I don't think, even though they could be a good appointment for Everton, why I don't think they would come into Everton, because Mashori would genuinely rather have Mourinho or bring Arsene Wenger. He'd honestly rather bring back Arsene Wenger out of retirement than to go in for a Frank Lampard. He's one of them.
Yeah, he likes that status thing, isn't it?
Yeah, he absolutely loves a big name. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
I'm going to just bring up we're going to bring up little lineup. Is that the right one? No, that one there for Everton. And mate, tomorrow, I've got it as a 4-3-3, but obviously you can probably change that. You'd be able to advise me a lot better. How are you expecting Everton to approach this game? Are you expecting to very much like low block, sit deep, and just try and nick something on the counter attack?
No, yeah, I agree. 4-3-3 for me. So we're going Pickford in goal.
Yeah, what have you made of him this season? Like, obviously, he had a very good Euros. Do you feel he's had a bit of a come down since then?
He's naturally going to have a come down because our defense is that bad.
Yeah,
but I don't think ability-wise he's came down. I think he just looks worse in our system because of the fact that he is in an Everton team that is just losing every game. So there's no real chance for him to shine. I don't think he's had exactly a spectacular season, and I wouldn't go over and start praising him a lot. But I still think he's still got the quality there. So when the World Cup comes around, for example, I think he'll do well in the World Cup still. Yeah. I haven't seen any sort of downgrade or anything like that. Right back, there's going to be talk because obviously Coleman's out.
Yeah.
There's going to be talk of John Joe Kenny coming in. I am not having John Joe Kenny.
He's terrible, isn't he? I've seen him play a few times. He's awful.
Here's the thing with John Joe Kenny, right? He's absolutely awful in my opinion, right? And I'm not going to start crusading him, but I'm not going to start having a go at him because it's just bullying at this point. But I think this is the scary thing about Rafa. I think genuinely he rates Kenny higher than Digne because Kenny is a defensive fullback. Now, he's not came out and said that, but Kenny's a defensive fullback. He cannot go forward at all. And Benitez likes those styles of, fullbacks. And that scares me. This is what scares me about Rafa. I don't like the way he thinks about fullbacks. He's not modern when it comes to the fullback role. Yeah. Normally it's to overlap, and you see in the introduction of wing backs now, and that's sort of an evolution that's happened. But he really likes his defensive fullback, so it would not surprise me if John Joe Kenny is starting in this game. But I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to go for Mason Holgate at right back. I've been making a few shouts about Holgate. I don't think his attitude is exactly perfect. I don't think it is. But at the moment, in the crisis we are right now, in the injury crisis we are in right now, Holgate's a fine fit for me. And I'd be interested if he can do a job at right back because I think he's better at right back than he is at centre back.
Yeah, he's played there a few times this season, hasn't he? Right back.
And I think at West Brom, he either played right back or centre mid. I'm not sure which one it was, but I think he dipped his toes in each position, and he was quite decent there. And he was sort of dipping his toes into the right back spot last December. If you remember when we played you, he played right back last December. And he played against Leicester and played against Arsenal. We won both of those games, and he played right back, and he was actually quite good there. So be interesting to see. Then for our two centre-backs, we're going to go for Michael Keane. He has to start. There's no chance he's not starting.
Yeah.
And Jared Brantwaite. Now, Jared Brantwaite is a 21-year-old, I believe. He is left-footed. I'll build a bit of a profile for you. He's left-footed. He was out on loan to, I believe, Blackburn last year. He did all right there. He didn't exactly, set the world alight, but he was a very decent centre-back, and he's never been given a chance under Rafa, and really not given a chance under Carlo, because he was signed under Carlo in the January window from Carlisle United. So he's a decent player. I think he's got potential, but when you throw him into when you throw him in against
Chelsea, it's a big game for him, isn't it?
It's a big game, and it'll be very difficult for him. But we'll have to see if he does a job. Ben Godfrey at left back, he was phenomenal at left back against Arsenal, and he's got to start at left back in my book. I think we could start. I don't mind if he starts at centre back. I really don't. But who else can you start at left back if Digne's not in?
Yeah, you haven't really got many options, have you, mate? I tell you what, it's a real shame is that you couldn't manage to get Kurt Zouma on a permanent deal this summer, because that would have been great. I thought it was good at Everton when he was on loan that season. It's a shame for Everton that it didn't really happen in terms of getting him permanently.
Yeah, I really, you know what? If we had Zouma in this team, he would probably start next to Godfrey in this team.
Yeah,
back position. If there was no injuries, for example, we'd have a back line of Coleman, Zouma, Godfrey, and Digne, and that would be very solid.
That's actually that's not half bad.
And then you think get a new right back in, and it's literally what we need is a really good. I say really good. We need a centre back who's not gonna mess around. We need a Kurt Zouma. We need someone like that. And Yerry Mina is that. However, he's inconsistent because he's injured so much. He's only got 18 months left on his contract, and there's actually been rumours saying that he's going to be out. He could potentially be leaving us if the right offer comes in, which is about 17 million for him. He could leave us. So I'm not sure if Mina's the man. I think he's got the quality to be the man, but it's whether or not Rafa thinks he's going to be the man.
Yeah.
Centre mids, we're going to go for a triple lineup of Fabian Delph as centre mids, Abdoulaye Doucouré and Alan. I think this is our best midfield we can field, and we have to start a three in midfield. We cannot start two in midfield, or we will get overrun by this Chelsea team. We have to play low block, and I think Alan and Delph are going to play a little bit of a deeper role, with Abdoulaye Doucouré playing more of a box-to-box role. And if we're going to get anything out of this game, these three midfielders have to have the game of their life.
What do you make of Delph? Because he's kind of obviously he's been at Aston Villa, he's been at Manchester City, come into Everton, and he played quite a bit, and then he didn't play for a long time, and now he seems to be back in again. What do you make of him? He's one of them that kind of divides opinion, isn't it?
Mate, I think under Carlo, I've always said this about him when I've been on the YouTube. His attitude seems to stink. He just seems like he doesn't want to be there and just picking up a wage check. But he's been given a chance under Rafa, and he's actually done the job, and he actually seems like very likeable now. And I'm actually starting to like Delph, which is really mad to think, because he when he starts the games, when he actually seems like he's been included in the team, and Rafa's came out and said he's been a role model to other players, you see why he was in that Centurion team. You know what I mean? You see why he was. And I've got to respect Delph this season. I think he's been phenomenal for what we've asked for him, what we can get from him. He's been phenomenal.
I tell you what, I do really like Doucouré. I think he's class. That was a great signing when he managed to get him from Watford. He's great. He's added a few goals to his game this season as well, so he can be a threat when he breaks forward from midfield. Would you say he's probably Everton's best midfield player?
Yes,
most complete.
Yes, yeah, most complete. Yeah, definitely. If I had to pick between Alan and Doucouré, I would definitely pick Doucouré, I think, in my book. That's not to diss Alan, but it's just, Doucouré, I think he gets into every team bar the top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He gets
class.
Yeah, he really is. So, he'd do a job at Chelsea right now. He'd be a good rotation option for you.
Yeah, it would have been,
but yeah.
Tom Davis on the bench, or is he injured?
Oh, yeah, actually, do you want me to say the injuries that we've got, actually?
Crack through them, mate.
It is the post-it notes that we've got. You see, it's actually quite a full list there. So,
mate, that's like a whole notebook, isn't it?
I know, back line is Coleman, Mina, and Digne. Digne's supposedly ill. But I'm going to take that with a grain of salt, considering the current situation with him and Rafa. Davis is injured. No update on Davis either, so I think he's going to be out till probably January. Townsend is out. Richarlison's out. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin are all out. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's going to return on the 1st of Jan, I think. So pretty much good start to the year. So yeah, those are our injuries. So I'm going to go for a lineup of Gordon on the right, Gray on the left, or you can have it either way. I don't mind. And then we're going to have Rondon up top.
Jesus, it's not great, is it? If we're being perfectly honest, if I'm playing in defence for Chelsea tomorrow, with all due respect, I'm not exactly particularly afraid of Rondon, Gordon. I mean, Damari Gray, as you touched on earlier, I think he's been Everton's best player this season. He's been really, really good. But you look at that front line, if you're Thiago Silva, Rudiger and Christensen, which I think is probably going to be the back three, you're not envisaging too many issues being caused by them lads.
If you're a championship level team, you're not scared of that. You're not scared of that. Honestly, you take Gray out of it. All you're going to do, what you're going to do in this game is isolate Gray. That's what you're going to. If you isolate Gray, you're sorted.
I mean, you haven't got anyone else, have you? Because it literally Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin are the top two choices, and you got Rondon. Who else could realistically go up there? Not really any. Is there anyone else?
Well, Tucson, Sims, Dobbin. I mean, it's two youngsters.
Scraping the barrel, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disrespect Sims or Dobbin, but do you genuinely expect them to do a good job against the best defence in the league?
No, definitely not.
I genuinely wouldn't expect Dominic Calvert-Lewin to have a good game. He might have a decent game, but I don't think Dominic Calvert-Lewin... I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin would struggle against Chelsea because you have the best defence in the league, in my book. All round, you do.
Yeah, as a defensive unit, I know we've leaked. I know we've leaked like a few more goals in the last few games, but I think we've let in 11 goals in 16 matches so far, which is less than a goal a game, which is pretty good to be fair. And you have to remember that 5 of those were in the last 2 league games: 3 at West Ham, 2 at Leeds. So before that it was 6 in. I think we let in 6 in 14 games before those last 2.
Yeah, and I swear you, in the first month or 2, you only conceded 3 goals. One of them was from a penalty.
One of them was a penalty, yeah. But in fairness, though, we haven't had any clean sheets in our last 8 in all comps. Which, given the fact that we kept so many clean sheets at the beginning of the season, it's not a worry. But we need to kind of a clean sheet tomorrow night would be a big confidence boost considering how many we have let in recently. I mean, Kieran, you look at that lineup. And you thinking tomorrow night just damage limitation for Everton?
Yeah, just 7 at the back. No, 10 at the back, actually. 10 at the back. We played Park the Bus against Crystal Palace. We're going to park the bus against you.
Yeah,
What you should maybe do is just put Delph where Branthwaite is now and Alan really I don't think Rondon's getting further than the halfway line this game.
But in fairness, though, like that is something that we do struggle with. When teams come and sit really low block, 10 behind the ball. Yeah. We do occasionally struggle to break sides down. We saw it. We created so many opportunities against Burnley. Didn't get the job. Didn't win. You know, same against Man United. They came and just parked the bus completely, and we couldn't break them down. So that is something that I'm not. Obviously, those sides. I mean, obviously, Everton got more quality than Burnley. Obviously, probably a little bit less.
Well, you say that, mate. I mean, looking at that team, you do a combined 11 against Burnley. I mean,
that one, not many are getting in, but we do struggle to break down a low block. So I think if Everton can keep it goalless for as long as possible, that definitely works in their favour. But I think if you were to let an early goal in, say, first 15, 20 minutes, that game plan of sitting deep is just completely gone. And then you have to come out and play. And then we obviously got the quality to be able to pick that off. But I mean, I think for Everton, as you said, it's going to be a case of just sit in, defend for your lives and kind of see if you can nick something from a set piece or if we make an individual mistake, because we've made a few of those recently, unfortunately. But so that's obviously Everton lineup for tomorrow. I'll take that down. I'm just going to share what I think the Chelsea lineup's going to be. Let me just bring that up. There we go. So this is what I'm going with tomorrow. Obviously, Mendy's still in goal. For me, the back three kind of picks itself at the moment with Chalobah only just coming back to the squad. Azpilicueta, for me, a couple of poor performances against Zenit and against Leeds last weekend where he got subbed off for Christensen up with about 15 to go. I think those 3 will start. Reece James 100% will play right wing back. I'm not a massive fan of Marcus Alonso like a lot of Chelsea fans, but we don't have another option there unless we put Hudson-Odoi or Pulisic, and I definitely don't want to see either of those guys there. Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek, again, it's going to be that same midfield pivot due to injuries and fitness, so they're going to have to play. Top end of the pitch, Romelu Lukaku, I think it's about time we started him, get him some more minutes under the belt. Hopefully he can, do a good job tomorrow night. And then he'll be obviously even fitter to go again at Wolves away on Sunday. Mason Mount has to play in this front three for me for just his all-round game, his pressing that he offers from the front as well. And this last place in the front three is quite difficult. I mean, it's a toss-up between Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, Hakim Ziyech, or Kai Havertz and Timo Werner as well. I mean, it's an embarrassment of choice at the top end of the pitch. But I'm going to go with Callum tomorrow just for the fact that he's direct, he runs at players and he takes people on, and not very many of our team do that. So I look at that and you think, that's more than enough to beat an Everton side who are crippled with injuries and are not in the best of form. But with football, you just never know. I mean, we struggled against Leeds at the weekend. Leeds are terrible. They have no Calvin Phillips, no Patrick Bamford. But I think for Chelsea at this point of the season, whilst we're not playing our best football, it's just about staying in touch at the top of the table, and we need to close that gap to City back down to 2 points. But I mean, Kieran, you look at that team there, obviously, unfortunately for yourself, it's really slightly better than Everton's. I mean, does that scare you a little bit tomorrow night, considering all the injuries you've got?
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, obviously all the injuries you've got and stuff. It's not a full strength Everton. For whatever reason, you said Everton have got a terrible record at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah.
We've got a dreadful record at Goodison Park as well.
Yeah. It's just a shame that we're not playing at Goodison Park. I mean, it's the only chance we would have maybe had. But I look at that team. I'm not scared of your team.
Yeah.
Right. But I just know you're going to do a job against us. Like, the only team I'm scared of is City, because I think they could whoop us 8-0. I think, fingers with Thomas Tuchel, he won't. I might be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm not wrong, actually. But I don't think Thomas Tuchel is one of these managers to go out and win 6-7-0. And I feel like if we were playing City tomorrow, we are losing 6-7-0. But because we're playing against Thomas Tuchel, I think he'll go with he won just a 3-0 win, I think.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
I think Thomas Tuchel is one of them managers who's content with getting results. And I think that a 3-0 win for you is a perfect result, because with a Lukaku goal, Lukaku's back fit. You've kept the clean sheet for the first time in 8 games. And he will be aiming for a clean sheet in this game. I think even if you win 1 or 2-0, I think you'll be content with that, because that's the problem you need to fix. By the sounds of what you're saying, you've not kept the clean sheet in 8 games. That's going to be his main priority. And to be quite frank, you're going up against a championship level attack. Bear in mind, I'm excluding Gray from that, but what do you expect Gray to do? I mean, genuinely, I don't think.
Rondon did score at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if he didn't score that goal, I'd be very concerned. He was 2 feet out. I mean, look, you know what? I sound very negative coming onto this, and I'm normally positive, and I'll give credits to the front line, right? And I will give some credits out now. With Rondon, I've always said this about Rondon. He's going to start cracking in the goals in December, because it was never our intention to have both Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison out. I don't think Rafa brought him in to start. And I feel like if Rondon was slowly brought into the team, he'd actually look like a decent signing. Obviously, Gray's been amazing up top. But it's just about how much of the ball are we going to get? How much of the ball are Rondon and Gray going to get? They're not going to get much of the ball. And when we do, you're going to have 3-4 players on us. And I just think it's very unrealistic for me to come on here and say we're going to win, because I don't think we are.
That's fair, mate. I think the key, as I said, is just that most important for me is I'd rather win 2-0 than win, say, 5-1. I think a clean sheet's really important for us, because that's how we're going to win this league if we do. It's because Manchester City and Liverpool can blow teams away. We can't do that. But what we can do is score 1 or 2 goals and keep them out at the other end. Whereas the likes of City and Liverpool can obviously, if they let in 1 or 2 goals a game, they can score 3 or 4, and that's fine. But we actually, at the moment, we can't do that because our attack's not clinical enough. So it's for us, it's vital that we keep a clean sheet, get 1 or 2 goals in, and just a solid performance. I mean, for me at the moment, it's just about the results, and the performances will pick up again. But it's just all about staying in touch at the top of the table, because if we get to January, we've got Liverpool and City in the first 2 weeks of January. We don't want to be more than 3 or 4 points adrift of them going into those games. We don't want to be in a position where we have to win both of them to get to the top of the table.
Yeah.
So we want to be within striking distance. But I mean, yeah, look, tomorrow night, in all fairness, I'm not expecting too many issues, but with football, you just never know. And that's the beauty of it. But Kieran, before we wrap up, mate, if you're going for a score prediction tomorrow night, what are you thinking?
You know what? I'm going to say 3-0 to you, and I hate saying that. And I'm not happy about that. So, you know, I'd love to say 1-0. And I think the only way we could win, is if you start your second team. And I actually want to make a prediction on here.
Yeah.
I think Kepa's going to start this game.
Yeah, do you reckon?
I think so. I get a feeling that he will. I think that I'm not sure. Has Ross Barkley been on your bench recently? Because I feel like it is. I don't know about Ross.
I don't know if he's been on the bench. Yeah, I think he's been on the bench recently. He either makes the bench or he's not in the squad at all.
I'm just thinking like some of these players like Barkley might make an appearance on this game.
Well, in fairness, we have got Wolves away on Sunday, and then we've got Brentford in the quarterfinal of the Cup, and then another game the following weekend. So out of the two games, no disrespect to your boys, but Wolves away is, I know your next game's most important game, but Wolves away is a much tougher game and a bigger game than Everton at home tomorrow night. So I don't know if he'll have, I'm not sure if Tuchel looks ahead or he probably takes it one game at a time or not. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised perhaps there was a little bit of rotation with maybe half an eye on Wolves on Sunday.
Yeah, I think you're going to rotate in this game. I think you'll still have your key players in there, but I think you're going to rotate half first team, half second team. Because let's be honest here, you look at that Everton team right now, the team that we are going to put out, the team that I've predicted, how many of them actually get into many squads in this Premier League?
Not many.
Half that team are relegation level.
Yeah, no, it must be hard to say that as a fan, but it's not stacked with quality at all.
It's sad. We have to start. We have to start Braithwaite potentially, who hasn't had a game yet.
Yeah.
Holgate, who's playing out of position. Godfrey, who's playing out of position. Gordon, who I love Gordon. I do. People think I'm criticising Gordon, but let's be honest here. Gordon and Rondon, excluding the game against Palace, both of them played about 11, 12 games, didn't score or didn't contribute. And terrible, I understand why Gordon didn't, sort of, because he's a youngster. He's coming into a league which he's not had experience in yet, so I understand why he hasn't. But if you're just taking it on the surface of it, it's not good enough.
No.
And yeah, you know what? I'm not trying to criticize Gordon because he's nowhere near the problem. If anything, he's been playing quite well in the context of how his attitude has been I think his attitude, he has taken it on the chin. But look at his chance against Crystal Palace. If that was Alex Iwobi or if that was Rondon, you'd have a lot, you'd hear about that chance a lot. And that's all I will say. Because if we have Townsend or if we have a fully fit team, does Gordon make the team at all? No. Does Rondon? No. Braithwaite, Holgate? No. Keane? Probably not. This is how in the mud we are, and it's concerning, man. I'm an optimistic guy. I don't think we're going to get relegated, but
no.
I'm seeing Rafa come out with quotes saying, "Oh, we're going to have a better second half of the season." Well, I'm not saying
much worse, can it?
I'm not. Yeah, I know it can't get much worse, and I'm not seeing evidence for that. So we have to have a big January transfer window to do well.
Yeah, that's the most important. It's all very well saying that, but actually, as you say, there's no evidence to suggest that things are turning for the better either. So that's the problem. But as I say, it's going to have to be a big January window for Everton and a big second half of the season to try and secure a top half finish. But yeah, obviously you've predicted 3-0. I'm going to go with a 2-0, and I think Lukaku will score, and that'll be a nice confidence boost going into the weekend. But Kieran, thanks so much for joining me to preview the game tomorrow night. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. Guys, I've linked all Kieran's socials below. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. Check him out on all the other platforms as well. And yeah, obviously, make sure you smash a like on the video. Thanks for tuning in live. If you're going to watch it back, hope you enjoy it. Please do subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate all the support. And yeah, Kieran, thanks so much for joining me, mate. And yeah, we'll see how it goes tomorrow.
Yeah, we will indeed.
Cheers, mate.